Hello everyone, JSGC here, and we're here for another Manchester City transfer news update, bringing you the latest ins and outs with Manchester City, of course, update on Leroy Sane. We'll get to that when we get to the out big news with regards to that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Before we get on with this video though, make sure if you're new around here, enjoying the content, you want to stay up to date with everything happening with Manchester City transfer news, the latest news, and also everything happening with Manchester City, then make sure you press the red button, subscribe, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Make sure if you enjoy this video that you do leave a thumbs up, because it really helps me out. 2, make sure also, if you want to go and check out my social media links, you can find them in description below and popping up on screen too if you want to go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. So we're going to crack on with this video and first up talk about the ins, and we've got a little update on Mikel Oyarzabal. Now, reports from Spain have said that Manchester City and Pep Guardiola have got a good working relationship with Real Sociedad, and Manchester City have been honest with Real Sociedad and told them that they won't be signing Mikel Oyarzabal as Leroy Sane's replacement this summer, as Pep Guardiola wants Leroy Sane at Manchester City. I'll bring you the latest update on that when we talk about Leroy Sane. So at the moment in time, it looks like Mikel Oyarzabal is a no-go as it stands. Now, we'll move on to the other update that we've got with an ins. Comes in the form of a player called Jose Cifuentes, I hope that's how you say his name, is over in Ecuador, but apparently Manchester City, after the young player, this bid that they've made apparently, which has been undisclosed, so I'm not too sure what amount we're talking here, apparently has been rejected by Universidad Católico del Ecuador. I hope that's how you say their name. A club is a defensive midfielder, 20 years old, currently plays for Ecuador under-20s too, scored goal of the tournament at the under-20s World Cup this summer too, so there's a little bit of demand in there, currently spending the season out on loan at America de Quinto over in Ecuador. Now, apparently there's interest from Celtic as well as Manchester City. Manchester City were hoping to put the bid in and get this deal tied up quickly. That's what has been reported in the Scottish Sun, so we're ahead of Celtic in the race. Apparently though, that bid's been rejected, so where we go from there, the source says they're not too sure where they're going to go. But if Manchester City do decide to sign Jose Cifuentes, it is a possibility that we could loan him out to Celtic, because we have got a good working relationship with Celtic. We have loan players out there previously. Currently got Daniel Arzani, the Australian, out on loan for 2 seasons at Celtic. Spent the majority of last season injured, so hopefully he can have better fortunes this season round. Of course, we sent Patrick Roberts up on loan there too, so yeah, I've got a good working relationship with Celtic there, so that might be an option. Celtic might try and put their own bid in and chase Manchester City with him. We'll have to wait and see. We'll keep an eye on the development. So we're going to move on to the outs now, and we're going to talk about Leroy Sane. Just have a listen to this. This is quite a lengthy update, so just stay tuned. So Leroy Sane update at the moment. Bayern yesterday were backtracking a little bit, as their president is said to be unhappy with their manager Kovac. Apparently the Bayern Munich manager has been speaking that they were confident of signing Leroy Sane, and from that, their president Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, he was saying that Leroy Sane, he's a Manchester City player at the end of the day. He's under contract at Manchester City. Bayern Munich's got a good working relationship with Pep. They've got a good working relationship with Manchester City, and so they're kind of just backtracking on the process that they've been going down all summer, Bayern Munich here. So trying to convince our player to leave, trying to get their players and their manager involved to try and talk him into joining Bayern Munich. Of course, this just stemmed from the international break that was happening back in June. We're now sitting right just before August, and it's continued to go. And to me, Bayern Munich, at the very least here, have shown disrespect to Manchester City, because you shouldn't be talking about a player that isn't your player. But all they've done all summer is talk about how Leroy Sane could, their philosophy is probably should be joining Bayern Munich. But I'm not buying all of the trying to ease the tensions here, because I'll get to that in a moment. But further to that anyway, Kovac, he said that Bayern Munich, they could still sign Leroy Sane, which is contradicting to what's been said by their president. And Bayern Munich, I get the feeling, just always trying to change their mind, always trying to contradict themselves, and you just get the feeling that they're just at this moment in time trying to avoid having egg on their face type situation here, and so trying to just distance themselves, because I'm sure at some point, if they don't end up signing Leroy Sane, they'll say that they were never that interested and never that close to signing Leroy Sane, when, let's face it, all they've done all summer is try and pursue Leroy Sane. So it's an incredibly frustrating deal, this one, for all parties. I've given my opinions before on this Leroy Sane saga. I am hoping, though, that he will decide to stay at Manchester City City because I think he's a very good player, and I think Manchester City need good players in their team, and Leroy Sane is one of them, so I do hope that he stays. Now, a little bit more of an update just this morning. Kimmich, their right back's been joining the argument. What's this got to do with Kimmich? I have no idea, but he was saying that if Leroy Sane wanted to join Bayern Munich, he'd already be there, which you can't argue with what he's saying, to be fair. If you're that determined to get a move and everything, you'd have been actively pursuing it all summer to get it done as quickly as possible. You don't look to try and tie up your future as late as possible unless you're trying to give yourself time. And so, and this is where the arguments come from with Manchester City fans. Do you want Leroy Sane to stay? Do you not, or do you not want him to stay and want him to leave? And honestly, it is split with a lot of fans because they're not sure. While they know Leroy Sane is a good player, they're also thinking that he won't commit to Manchester City, won't show the loyalty that Manchester City are perhaps looking for, and then start thinking, actually, we can get a good amount for him, then sell. Basically, a put-up or shut-up situation where you either want to stay, just decide. And it's a life-changing moment for Leroy Sane, so we have to give him time, but the time's ticking, and to be honest, he's had all summer to decide. And, yeah, later this morning, it's been reported by AS via Sports Witness. Not too sure how reliable this is, but the early indication they were given was that Leroy Sane has told Manchester City that he wishes to leave this summer, which isn't good. Further added on to that, Manchester City are believed to be blocking the transfer for him to leave. That's the latest we've got on Leroy Sane. Apparently he wants to leave Manchester City. Manchester City don't want him to leave and are putting a block on the transfer. When I get more on this detailed transfer, I will bring it to you first and fast. It's one we're going to be keeping an eye out for, I imagine, probably every single day on the run-up to the transfer deadline day next Thursday. So make sure you stay tuned for that if you are interested. But at the moment, we're at loggerheads with Leroy Sane here. I'm just going to give my opinion. If Leroy Sane wishes to leave, as long as Manchester City get a good bid, to me, £100 million bare minimum. We get £100 million for Leroy Sane, I'd sell. Anything less, I'd turn it down. Leroy Sane is an important player at Manchester City. I'm confident that we can go till at least the winter window without Leroy Sane. We do need to replace him, though. If we can get a good amount in this window, replace him perhaps in the winter window. I say that because I don't think there's enough time, and it's important we get the transfer right. It has to be someone of quality that is replacing quality. What you don't want is to rush a transfer. I was mentioning this in previous videos, that Manchester City, you don't want to rush a transfer and end up going to deadline day and bringing in a player that perhaps you weren't necessarily looking at and in the long term isn't the right decision. Transfers take time, and it's something I'd think that would take months, maybe even a year, something we might look at next summer. To me, Leroy Sane wants to leave, we get a good bid, sell. If we don't get a good bid, keep him until the winter window and assess the situation from there. Please let me know your thoughts of that in the comments below. That's the latest that we've got at this moment in time. I'm hoping it'll be a bit of fake news. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to report that Manchester City haven't had a decision yet from Leroy Sane and that the future's still undecided. But if he does want to leave, then perhaps, just speculating, perhaps the next step would be a transfer request to try and force through a move to Bayern Munich, which obviously I want Leroy Sane to stay. Isn't good. So I'll keep the eye on that and make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, got an update on Tosin Adarabioyo. Now, they were saying that there was a U-turn yesterday from Tosin Adarabioyo. That was according to Sky Sports, saying that he was having a medical at Blackburn Rovers yesterday, and he was now set to sign for Blackburn on a season-long loan. This morning, just this morning, it has been announced that Tosin Adarabioyo has indeed now joined Blackburn Rovers on a season-long loan. Best of luck to Tosin Adarabioyo on his move to the Championship. I'm wondering what was causing the stall last week. I'm not too sure whether it's coming from Blackburn's end or Man City's end, but I'm glad it's got over the line, and I'm happy that Tosin Adarabioyo has managed to get a good loan out there to the Championship. So best of luck to him and to Blackburn for the rest of the season. So there we go. That has been the video. Hope you enjoyed this video, or as much as you can enjoy the video, me bringing negative news that perhaps Leroy Sane will leave. So yeah, let me know your thoughts of that in the comments below. Make sure you press the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, so I know that you liked the video. Make sure also, if you're new around here, you want to stay up to date with everything happening with Man City transfer news, daily transfer updates, don't forget, and the latest with Leroy Sane, and staying in the loop. Make sure you press that red button, subscribe, and press the bell and put your push notifications on. I'm going to keep you up to date with everything happening with that Leroy Sane saga. Make sure also you go and check out my social media links in description below and popping up on screen, Twitter and Instagram, keeping you up to date with everything happening with JSGC JSGC and everything happening with Man City news, retweeting sources and keeping you up to date with that Leroy Sane saga, which I'm sure there'll be plenty more updates to come, so stay tuned for that. So it's been JSGC. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching it, and I'll see you all again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. Peace. Ciao for now.